Captain, United States Navy. Arrival. Fleet Readiness Center Southwest. Arrival. Commander, Fleet Readiness Centers, arrival. Commander, Operational Test and Evaluation Force, arrival. Color guard, parade the colors.
So proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we walk were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Retire the colors. Chaplain Freiberg will now deliver the invocation.
Let us pray. Let us pray. Gracious God, we give you thanks for this fantastic day. We especially lift at this time Captain Timothy Pfannenstein and his faithful and dedicated service to this community. We lift up as well Captain Pfannenstein's loving and supportive spouse, Cheryl. All have benefited from the commitment they have given to this command while here. As Captain Craig Owen and Cynthia come aboard in this new capacity, we pray that they would be empowered to be of service to all they encounter. May they be blessings to this fantastic command going forth. Strengthen and sustain us all in our daily journey. We give thanks for this special occasion. In your name we pray. Amen.
Please be seated. Military guests may uncover. Sideways, post. Adjutant, place the command at ease. Ladies and gentlemen, Commanding Officer of Fleet Readiness Center Southwest, Captain Tim Pfannenstein.
I will now read my orders. Oops, wrong page. Hey, good morning everyone and welcome to North Island and to Fleet Readiness Center Southwest. Special welcome to Rear Admiral Sohl and Rear Admiral Zarowski, our guest speaker and presiding officer. And I would welcome Dennis West, but unfortunately he cannot be here today. And I'd also like to welcome our PCO Captain Craig Owen, my friend, confidant, advisor, and bud. But before we start, wow, my heart's ablaze right now and it's going to take me a while to shake off those goosebumps. The tears of pride that almost came while Master Chief Alderman and AZ2 Clark read our national anthem. That amazing rendition will always be remembered, and it shows how deep the talent in this organization runs just beyond the technical, but in the heart as well. Thank you for that. Shane, Chaplain Freeberg, you're getting really good at this stuff. Seems everywhere I go, he's there. He is the omnipresent chaplain. I sometimes wonder if he's not the Lord himself, because he is everywhere I go. So Shane, thank you. Next to that fabulous North Island Color Guard, thank you for bringing that incredible precision to this ceremony. Without you, it's just another speech. And with you, it cements our deep roots in military history, and it is the ultimate expression of our national pride. To the Navy Band Southwest, our musical link to our military culture. Most of our fondest memories can be linked to music. For us in uniform, be it the national anthem, a marching song, or my favorite, Ruffles and Flourishes, our best military memories can be attached to the music you provide. Thank you once again for being here. And thank you for sharing your pride and representing everyone here today. We always get goosebumps when you play. To the technical aspects of this ceremony and the things we take for granted, those flags, that white wall, that table, the speakers, all of those things, our side boys, the ushers, our bell ringer, our bosun, the sound guys, those who spend hours setting up this facility, countless folks from our Southwest team who do not seek recognition, but who must be recognized for their role they played in making this event possible. I met with you all as much as I could yesterday privately, but I want to thank all of you again publicly for what you have done to make this event a success. To Lieutenant Jim Foss and Commander Vince Aiello and the countless others who spent all of the hours in coordination and execution, thank you for making what will most likely be the most memorable day in my life. I'd also like to welcome our family and friends. More on that later as folks take the stage. But I would like to welcome former commanding officers Don Simmons and John Smadek, Jim Woolway and Mike Kelly. These men paved the way for our arrival, and as former COs, they understand what is in my heart today and what is also on my mind as I depart. Thank you all for coming. And lest I forget my fellow FRCCOs who traveled all this way to join us, Commander Rick Brombeck from FRC Northwest and Captain Chuck Stewart from FRC Southeast, thank you all for honoring us today. And also joining us today are Steve Barnett and his executive officer, Captain Scott Mulvihill from the NAS North Island Station. You guys, we've shared a few laughs over the last couple years. I hope they continue. I'd also like to welcome City Councilman Mike Woody and these folks who have been unwavering support to us and who have been great partners in our community. Also, HSM Wingpack Commodore Sil Perella and Deputy Commodore David Walt. Also, Captain Mike Belcher from FRCSW, and Senatu XO Captain Tom Edgeworth, along with many others. Also, Lou Perella and Ian Clampett, who represent San Diego City Councilman Chris Case. Thank you for coming today. I'd also like to welcome your next XO Captain Tony Armillo, or Jean Murillo, or Haye Amaro, or, how's it written on your board, XO? Phonetically, Har-a-mi-o. Thank you for coming today. You got some big shoes to fill for Captain Craig Owen, but I know you're up to the task. And I'd also like to welcome the wonderfully talented and hardworking military and civilian personnel today as well. Without you, nothing that's happened over the last 39 months would have been possible. I hope I have not forgotten anyone, but welcome you to all, and thanks for celebrating this special day with us. More on all of that to follow, but I'm going to shift gears. At this time, I'd like to turn this event over to our presiding officer, the Commander of Navy Fleet Readiness Centers, Rear Admiral Michael Zarowski. Admiral Zarowski grew up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and became an aerospace maintenance duty officer in 1988. He's a graduate of Millersville University, and he has a Master's of Science degree in Material Logistics Support Management from the United States Naval Postgraduate School just up the road in Monterey. He's also a member of the Defense Acquisition Professional Community, as well as the functional lead for all Navy 1520 aerospace maintenance duty officers. While his bio in your program will give specifics, I just want to mention that he's held the most coveted jobs in our world: CAGMO, AIMDO, FIXO, ACOS for logistics at Naval Air Forces, and a program manager at PMA 260 at Naval Air Systems Headquarters. He's also served as XO and CO at FRC Mid-Atlantic, and was the first COMFRC Vice Commander to reside in Patuxent River, Maryland. All incredibly demanding assignments in which he served with distinction. Rear Admiral Zarowski has completed a wide-ranging breadth and scope of assignments, both ashore and afloat, that have made him uniquely qualified to lead one of the largest and most complex organizations in the United States Navy, our Fleet Readiness Centers. In his position, he oversees 18,000 military and civilian personnel at locations throughout the United States and around the world. Combatant commanders all over the world want what Rear Admiral Zarowski has got. That is ready for tasking aircraft, engines, and warfighting equipment. To meet that challenge, Rear Admiral Zarowski and his 8 FRCs deliver that readiness each and every day. In support of this mission and in that role of global warfighter support, I'm happy to call him my boss. Please join me in a warm welcome for our presiding officer, Commander Fleet Readiness Centers, Rear Admiral Mike Zarowski.
Well, good morning. And thank you, Tim. I think I brought the wrong folder. These are my remarks from the FRC Mid-Atlantic change of command last Friday. So welcome to family, friends, and distinguished guests. It is always great to be back on North Island, where some say this is the center of the universe, and most will say this is the center for readiness. Now, traditionally, a change of command ceremony pays tribute to the outgoing CO and his accomplishments. As most of you remember, when we last gathered for a Southwest change of command, then XO Captain Pfannenstein had plenty to say, and he actually took twice as long as the outgoing CO, Captain Don Simmons, as he addressed the audience. So here we are, 2 years later, and we should expect that his thoughts and his remarks be twice as long as Craig's. Tim, you came in strong, and you're leaving even stronger. Changes of command, they're important events, as the skipper had said, and they stand to mark the advancement in our professional careers. But these ceremonies are also a chance to thank those who have supported us over the years, our family and our friends. Let me first extend a heartfelt welcome to the person who keeps the skipper in line, his wife, Cheryl Pfannenstein. Cheryl, it is great to see you again. Good morning. Congratulations on a superb command tour, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of you when you get back to the East Coast. I would also like to welcome Captain Owen's wife, Cynthia, and their daughter, Afton. Cynthia, it is great to see you again. Afton, I am glad, and it was an honor to finally meet you this morning. Congratulations as you take the reins of an incredible command and a very demanding and dynamic time. You and Craig are ready. And welcome to everyone who is here today to support Cheryl and Tim and Cynthia and Craig. It is wonderful to feel the support and to see so many familiar faces. Ceremonies, as the skipper said, like these may look easy, but we all know a lot of work goes into this event. And again, I would just like to say thanks to the Honor Guard, the Side Boys, the band, and all those who work behind the scenes. Each of you plays an important role in us continuing this great tradition. Your hard work is appreciated. Thank you. President George Washington once said, "To be prepared for war is one of the most effective means of preserving peace." Our Navy is forward, always ready and always there. Forward naval presence is essential for commerce and for promoting stability, deterring conflict, and responding to aggression. With the current unrest in the world, demand for naval aviation forces is high. It has been for the last 15 years, and there are no signs of this letting up. If you consider our fiscal environment and the resourcing challenges facing our Navy, and the fact that we own nearly 3/4 of the aircraft that will populate our flight lines and our flight decks into the middle of the decade, the sustainment work that Fleet Readiness Centers do is absolutely critical to the relevance of our force. Across naval aviation, the goal remains the same: improving readiness of aircraft currently in the fleet by becoming more predictive and less reactive, improving the affordability and speed of delivery of these new capabilities to our sailors and our Marines. To the men and women here today of FRC Southwest, you have always been, and you will continue to be, a vital part of this effort. The lines of effort you are pursuing here provide critical support to our warfighters. You extend the service life of our platforms. You perform in-service repairs, forward deployed. And you are our best force multiplier. And as the Navy places additional emphasis on engaging partners across the globe, especially in the Indo-Asia Pacific region, Southwest will only continue to grow in importance and relevance. Thank you for what you do every day in support of our warfighters. Your work is important, you are making a difference, and you are moving the needle in the right direction for naval aviation. And under Tim's leadership, so as you look at how do you define 2 years as XO, 2 years as CO, and summarize all of the actions, contributions, and achievements of Tim and the command, they're lengthy. 2.5 pages of single space, very small font, and an award that we're going to present to the skipper later. And you had to cut it off there because that's what the process and the policy allows for. As I read through that, I picked 2 that I thought were of most relevance in what Tim has done. 1, Tim achieved breakthrough results, and that was due to his leadership in plant operations and overall throughput of depot repair modifications. He spearheaded critical chain project management on the aircraft lines, leveraged intra-service logistics support to expand the scope of FRC Southwest support to the fleet. The other accomplishment that stood out, this business is about relationships. and partnerships. And Tim increased industrial support through multiple partnerships. He led efforts to expand MRO services to joint and international agencies and identified new partnership opportunities within the Navy, the Marine Corps, and the Air Force. Tim, you are the absolute best in the MRO product support business. You are the officer we need to help lead the NAE's transformation through Vision 2020 and beyond. And I mean it when I say, no one does it better. You leave FRC Southwest with a legacy of exceptional performance. And for those of you who may not know, Tim continues to be carefully detailed, selectively detailed to the most challenging billets and assignments. We are bringing Tim back to the East Coast, where he will fulfill the role in the assignment of 60B, Industrial Operations. He will join the leadership team with General Mazziello and Mr. Todd Balaz. I can think of nobody better suited to fill that position in this time of need. Everyone at headquarters and everyone in the LIC is excited about your return. Craig, you have an incredibly hard act to follow, and you are very well prepared to keep this FRC innovating and growing to meet our mission. I look forward to our continued work together. Welcome aboard to Captain Tony Jaramillo, Corinne and their children, Jack and Oliver. It is great to see you again. Tony, you are the absolute right XO to work with Craig. And now it is time for me to get to my real and first job here this morning, and that is the introduction of today's guest speaker, Rear Admiral Paul Sohl. I proudly served as a commanding officer and a vice commander when he was the commander of Fleet Readiness Centers at Patuxent River. Simply put, there was or is no better boss. Back in June at our change of command ceremony, Admiral Shoemaker, our air boss, praised him for many things. He called out his work in leading the recovery effort after sequestration, which had quite a damaging impact to our depot workforce. He was additionally recognized for many things, to include his extensive knowledge of critical chain project management and his commitment to championing that process across the FRC enterprise. Admiral, CCPM continues to pay huge dividends even after the month since you've been gone. We will keep the torch lit. Your involvement in Aviation Rapid Action Team ensured development and improvement of more than 100 repair processes, which enhanced the FRC's capability in cost avoidance and improved readiness by lowering cost per flight hour. Admiral Sohl put COMFRC pointed in the right direction, moving full speed ahead. Command is in his DNA. He has served as the CO of the U.S. Naval Test Pilot School in Pax River, the XO and the CO of FRC Southwest in Jacksonville, Florida, Commander for NOC WD, the Naval Air Warfare Center Weapons Division at China Lake in Point Mugu, California, the Commander of Fleet Readiness Centers in Patuxent River, Maryland, and today he commands, again, the Operational Test and Evaluation Force in Norfolk, Virginia. This leader thinks like no other, leads like no other, and gets results like no other. Please join me in a warm COMFRC welcome for our former boss, an NAE champion and visionary, our very favorite Hornet pilot, and someone we are proud to call our friend and our leader. Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Paul L.J. Sohl.
So thanks, Zark. My ad lib here a little bit. First of all, as Zark, you mentioned FRC Mid-Atlantic's change of command last week. I got a chance to go there as well. JR and Keith set the timeline an hour and 40 minutes. Zark won the over-under on that one. I will not contribute to that this morning, but I can't help but be a little bit nostalgic as we came around the corner and I saw that beautiful aircraft. It was 20 years ago this month that I left China Lake and came down here with my wife and said, who in the heck would fly Hornets out of North Island? But I wanted to figure it out. And so that was my introduction to the FRC world and what gets done in naval aviation maintenance. Thanks for the kind introduction, Zark. Congratulations on your promotion. You are the perfect fit. Navy absolutely got it right as they selected you for flag rank. And thanks to both you and Psycho and Craig for letting me say a few things and participate in this very, very special day. Traveling for any event with Psycho, and I will use Psycho, I can't call him Tim. Traveling for any event with Psycho is always interesting. It just depends upon where in the travel plan you are when the interesting thing happens. For this trip, Psycho, it was leaving, as we were about to leave Charlotte on my, on the plane, just as we were ready to pull back, the pilot comes on. This is no kidding. The pilot gets on and says, ladies and gentlemen, our first officer has smashed his head into one of the food carts. We are going to get some medical attention to see if he's okay to fly. So I thought for a second, okay to fly? I hope this turns out where, and sure enough, right then he comes on, he says, tell you what, we're gonna get a new first officer. It'll be a little bit, but be patient. I was patient. And then as a glass half full kind of a guy, I listened to the gentleman sitting next to me, who was also glass half full, and he said, well, at least he didn't hit his head on a bar stool. We got out here successfully, Tim. Thanks for that excitement. Good morning to all our distinguished guests, fellow flag and general officers, senior executives, community leaders, industry partners, FRC commanding officers, both present and former, Southwest team, family, and friends. Special good morning to Cheryl. It's great to see you. Can't wait to get you back to PAX. Craig, you and your wife Cynthia and daughter Afton, welcome. And especially to Psycho for inviting me today. I'm honored to share this day with you. For those who don't know, Psycho and I have a history. First met him when I was executive officer at Fleet Readiness Center Southeast. Tim Matthews was the CO. We were wishing farewell to Rob Caldwell as our production officer, and Tim said, we've got probably the best naval aviation maintainer to come in to this job, and his call sign is Psycho. He's got an interesting sense of humor. Little did I know what I had in store for me. I will share with you one personal story. As I was XO, and one of the first things he did as he was getting his feet wet and figuring out how to run production, came up and said, XO, there's a flag football league being set up at NAS Jax. I think we can have a team. So that's great. Just let me know what you want to do. A couple of days later, he calls me down, get in his office, and he said, I've got a playbook. And sure enough, he's got 10 of probably the best flag football plays that you could dream about. And I said, yeah, but what's our name? He had taken the letters of FRCSE, jumbled them up, thrown them around. He says, we're going to be called the FRC Southeast Freaks. With that name, we were guaranteed a winning season. Besides being a breath of fresh air, Psycho was just plain smart. Meeting after meeting, from my experience at Southeast, he would fill up whiteboards of data. I could hardly hold on. All I would do generally is take out my cell phone, take a picture, and knew that I had to study it later on. And I still have plenty of whiteboards from Psycho, and we gave you a blank whiteboard there at 6.0, so you'll have plenty to write on. And I use those today. He has a passion for naval aviation maintenance that I've tried to emulate. Best of all, he's got an uncanny knack of explaining what FRCs are and how they work, making this easily understandable to anyone. That's important because our Navy operates forward, and these operations take us far from home. So most Americans never get a chance to see their country's nautical strength and the role the Navy plays around the world, nor do they see how we at Fleet Readiness Centers keep it humming. Believe it or not, there are also people inside the NAE who don't understand the FRC world. They just don't get us. They can't see from the briefs and the slides and the telecons that basically FRC work is hard. We're talking about incredibly complicated machines that don't exist anywhere else. Each type model series aircraft is unique. Each tail number is unique. It is not a one-size-fits-all maintenance and repair system. They can't see that we can't simply open up an aircraft, see what repairs are needed, and go to work. We need engineering support. They need to work with us arm in arm to get the job done. And of course, we need the supply chain. All those loggies and supply experts, they identify the part shortages, locate the parts, and move parts where they need to be. What I want you to know is that Psycho's leadership, with his leadership, I was extremely confident that anyone we sent here to visit was going to understand it afterward. And that takes courage. With Psycho at the helm, FRC Southwest entertained a parade of high-level dignitaries that I sent this way, much to their chagrin, I guess. I suspect, but that's okay. Sean Stackley, ASN RDA, the Commandant and the CNO, on the same day at the same time. 2 hours. I don't think Dave Heinauer probably forgives me for that one, but he did a great job. I don't know if Dave's out there, but yeah, there you are. You did a great job of explaining to the CNO, who's a nuclear trained, in fact, he ran nuclear reactors for the Navy, of how you're doing that process. Very well done. We have OSD representatives come in, the CAPE, the cost and assessment folks, that help the Secretary of Defense decide where to put priorities. We have representatives from FMB, those are our bankers. Every single time they come here, their comment is the same, and it is, I had no idea how you did your business for the fleet. Many have heard Psychos say that folks at NavAir and the FRCs are the national treasure. Says our military could not execute our nation's business if NavAir and the FRCs didn't do so well what they do, and he's right. He is right to believe that if people don't know how the FRCs operate and how they're resourced, that our ability to sustain aircraft platforms and components into the next decade will be negatively affected. Psycho wants the NAE to be a high-velocity learning organization, and that is exactly what the CNO wants. Think of the challenges you face every day and you meet them head-on. The majority of our platforms are in sustainment. There are relatively few in production and even fewer in acquisition. Our budgets are declining, despite the fact that we still have significant operational and repair and maintenance requirements. The industrial base is eroding. Many original equipment manufacturers no longer provide the parts, and the existing supplies are dwindling. We are flying our aircraft platforms longer and longer, and longer. Many past their projected service lives. Every one of the FRC commanding and executive officers with our dedicated sailors, civilians, and contractors make things happen every day. This organization gets it and is totally committed to improving readiness in every aircraft we fly. I don't want to repeat some of the accomplishments that Zark talks about, but I got to highlight some, because this is under Psycho's watch. Under his watch, Southwest won their first ever CNO Aviation Safety Award. And they also won the CNO Environmental Quality Award and Environmental Sustainability Award. He positioned Southwest as a primary provider for extending the service life of legacy Hornets. In that, the F-18 Integrated Product Team spearheaded initiatives to facilitate improvements in on-time delivery and reduce costs. He implemented the full kit principle. Southwest has completed well over 100 center barrel replacements. He successfully used several production tools. We heard about CCPM, Airspeed, Lean Six Sigma Theory of Constraints, for 9 of his command programs. He made the workforce development a priority and began or jump-started numerous professional training and development initiatives, including reinvigorating the command's apprenticeship program in partnership with Puget Sound Naval Shipyard. Imagine that, an aviation depot connected with a shipyard. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. Everything on that list that I just read was accomplished with his great leadership and with great command support. In my 20-plus years experience in this business, it never ceases to amaze me what the FRC enterprise can accomplish. As a team, each individual complements and has an impact on the performance of the team. And it is a truly team score that matters, including the contributions from the sailors in our level 2s. They're the ones who support the flight line directly at both North Island and Point Mugu, as well as providing COPDET support to our West Coast carrier fleet. Like their level 3 counterparts, the level 2s at Southwest provide continuing presence around the world each and every day. Sailors like AT-1 Fritz, just returning from the Truman, he's the detachment LPO. He has been continuously lauded by his battle group as the go-to guy for solutions for complex problems. And from North Island is Sea Sailor of the Year AT-1 Nicholson, another of Southwest's many all-stars who ensure that the deployed aircraft have the fighting punch and stamina to prosecute the fight. They're just two of many folks who set the standard for excellence for Level 2 repair and management. Level 2 detachments at North Island Point Mugu demonstrated sustained superior performance by collectively being selected as a C&O's nominee for Secretary of Defense Phoenix Award, repairing 37,500 components valued at over $442 million, with a ready-for-issue rate of 91%, executing timely, cost-effective overhaul of T-56 and T-700 engines and APUs, gives them 100% engine availability for the E2, C2, and H60 communities. 100% availability. Zero bare firewalls, and that goes back over 4 years. Using 4 deployed artisans for BCMI, realized a cost avoidance of $4.3 million and savings of $764,000. Maintaining an enviable XREP count to 0 at Point Mugu and only 22 at North Island, this means Southwest Level 2s are delivering readiness every day. None of this would be possible without the dedicated specialists like AT-1 Paez, AS-1 Thor, AM-2 Thomas, AD-2 Mueller, and AT-3 McWilliams, who represent the nearly 1,000 sailors, chiefs, and officers of our Level 2s who support our warfighters, and collectively highlight the best our nation has to offer. I have the greatest respect for all of the Southwest team. You have extraordinary commitment. You're in the ring, fighting every day, getting our sailors and Marines operating forward what they need, and getting it to them fast. Zark talked about the Air Boss spoke at the FRC change of command back in June, and what he was really talking about was what the FRC enterprise has been able to accomplish. One of the things he talked about was where is the fleet today? 4 carrier strike groups, 4 deployed, and 16 expeditionary helicopter and maritime patrol squadrons or detachments are deployed right now. 3 additional carriers and their air wings are starting the workup cycle. That is unprecedented. That means the Navy has to provide sufficient aircraft resources for 7 of our 9 air wings to conduct the training requirements in the months ahead and be prepared. And there's a similar demand for the Marine Corps aviation units worldwide. Maybe tough to do, but we can do it. No one in this hangar who works at an FRC ever signed on because the job was going to be cushy. We embody what the C&O has called his core attributes: integrity, accountability, initiative, and toughness. The enemy and the threat may change, but our Navy stays true to its design. We provide the unique capability, and that is presence. We are the backbone of maintaining our freedoms, assisting in humanitarian recoveries, and promoting free trade on the seas for prosperity around the world. To Psycho and Craig, gentlemen, it's been an honor to share this day with you. Craig, and Zark said it, you got a hard act to follow. That's okay. You're ready. I am confident in your ability to keep this command safe, innovative, while working with speed, agility, and flexibility for our men and women operating forward. Tony, welcome aboard, and your family, you're the perfect fit as the new XO. Your ride is just starting. Psycho, you've had a huge impact on not only Southwest, but all of us in the FRC enterprise, and more broadly, the NAE. You will be a tremendous asset to NavAir's the B code for Todd Balaz and Maz. And by the way, when I pass these words, as Mr. Balaz says, where the heck are you? He wants you there yesterday. Thank you for your friendship, your partnership, and your mentorship for me, this little kid who all I know about is houses get bigger and houses get smaller. Thanks for that over the years. Congratulations to you both. I'll close by saying thanks to each and every one of you for what you've done, for what I know you will continue to do, to support our sailors and Marines. God bless you, God bless the Navy Marine Corps, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much.
Adjutant, bring the command to attention. Rear Admiral Zarowski will now present the Legion Merit Award to Captain Pfannenstein. Civilian guests may remain seated. Military members, attention to award. The President of the United States takes pleasure in presenting the Legion of Merit to Captain Timothy H. Pfannenstein, United States Navy, for service as set forth in the following citation. For exceptionally meritorious conduct and the performance of outstanding service as commanding officer, Fleet Readiness Center Southwest, from August 2014 to August 2016. Captain Pfannenstein led an integrated team of 4,500 military and civilian personnel across 358 industrial acres, encompassing 75 buildings and 6 hangars, for the production efforts which delivered high quality, timely, and affordable aviation products and services to Navy, Marine Corps, Joint, and Ford partner forces in support of combat commanders worldwide. In addition, he personally implemented numerous management and business development initiatives, significantly improving the safe operation and efficiency of Fleet Readiness Center Southwest. His superior stewardship and passion culminated in the command's first ever CNO Aviation Safety Award. By his dynamic direction, keen judgment, and loyal devotion to duty, Captain Pfannenstein reflected great credit for himself and upheld the highest traditions of the United States Naval Service. For the President, P.A. Grosskreutz, Vice Admiral, U.S. Navy, Commander, Naval Air Systems Command. Please be seated. Adjutant, place the command at ease. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Captain Pfannenstein.
Can we just stop now? Thank you. Humbled by that, and thank you very much. Once again, thank all of you for being here today. A very special day for me that I would like to dedicate to some folks. I'd like to dedicate this day to my mom, Barb, who could not be here today, my dad, Tom, who could not either, the rest of my family, including my late siblings, Sheila and Pete, and my sister, Cindy, my children, Daniel and Jessica, of course, and of course, Cheryl. It is they who are responsible for this moment, and it is they who serve as my inspiration and motivation to do this job every single day. I call them the wind beneath my wings, like that song says. I truly believe it, because I could not have made it this far without you. Couldn't. My family rocks, kind of like Craig's family rocks. We are right at this moment sitting, or standing, whichever it may be, in front of the Navy's newest, most efficient, and most productive H-60 maintenance facility. It is a building that is already bringing improved readiness to our fleet, and while it was completed on my watch, it was husbanded and envisioned and put into place by many others who preceded me in this job. But fundamentally, this building represents the future of naval aviation. It is a culmination of about 10 years of effort. It is an impressive facility, and it is where our vision of 2020 and beyond needs to take us as an FRC and NAE enterprise. But I'd like to go back in time a little bit. When I arrived here in April of 2013, I was honored to become your XO, and 16 months later to become your CO. It has gone by so very fast. Now I have to face one of them tough challenges, which is I have to go on. You will see my claw marks over there. I'll try not to go too deep to interrupt the fuel cell vent and cause a fire before I leave. But I do have to go, but in your honor today, because really, command is all about you. It's all about every single one of you. I'd like to spend the next few minutes, next couple hours, talking about what you all have done in the last 39 months. I've had the pleasure, the absolute pleasure, to serve with some of the greatest patriots our nation will ever know. You guys have been through some of the most unique challenges that I've ever encountered in federal service or in the military. And I want to talk about that today, because this truly is a team. One of my predecessors and mentors, retired Captain Mike Kelly, said something akin to naval aviation, it's the greatest team sport of all. He was absolutely right, and never more so than referring to Navy depots or the intermediate maintenance activities that comprise 2/3 of the maintenance enterprise. Along with that sports analogy, when I became CO, I asked you to think about another sports analogy and consider this. How can we avoid the diving catch, and how can we avoid the Hail Mary pass? Two things that from the stands look great and make everybody cheer and feel good. But how would you like to be that wide receiver that on every play has to run 80 yards to get it done? You get tired pretty fast. Or the shortstop who has to dive for every catch. You're going to get hurt. There is a limit. In our time together, we found that limit. We leveraged it, and in the process, we did some great things for naval aviation. What I also observed over the last few months is another challenge I put on you, which is to become more confident and competent in what you do, to not be afraid to step out and step in, and to do the right thing for the right reasons. And when you did that, you would find credibility, and people would want to come see what we do here to understand it, as Admiral Sohl had mentioned. They'd want to understand. They took away an understanding that we are doing it correctly, not through the anecdote that pervades other organizations. You met that challenge because of your competence, your confidence, and your credibility. That's the overview. And now, for those of you who had to endure the biannual program management reviews that you had to give us all the time, I want to do one last one for you. I'll call it the CO's PMR, but instead I'll rename it today and call it the Depot State of the Union Address. I want to address on what you've done as a team, each of you, individually and with your units. Today I'll report on how you are now avoiding the Hail Mary pass, how we don't do diving catches very often, and how you've achieved credibility in everything you do, and in the process developed as an organization that is second to none. I will spare you the monotony of production numbers. You hear them every Monday. XO grinds your stones about them every Monday. Good job, XO. I tell you. Instead, I want to highlight how your efforts made our depot better, how you made our eye level better, how you made our detachments better, and how our people are now better. And through all of that, how we improved production. I want to highlight what many said was not possible and show you how you achieved it. I want to describe how you evolved to think strategically with a focus on investment as the foundation of our future, and what investing means in terms of long-term survival. How sometimes spending a few coins to improve brings an ROI 100 times greater than that expense. You have learned that oftentimes saving those same coins, vice investing, only brings about a future cost that is much greater for the same improvement. That was fun to watch. Sports teams, as I'm using the analogies, are well coached and possess the best talent and skills, excel and achieve unprecedented periods of success. But those same teams go through periods when they must rebuild and renew. Why? Because things change. The coaches change and the players change. When that happens, we must renew, we must restore, we must invest. My predecessor, Don Simmons, had a one-word mantra for his goals here. It was compliance. I capitalized on that and had my one word for our mantra, which was renewal. And within that theme of renewal, you proved every single day our command motto. We can do anything we want to, if we want to. And y'all can repeat that 100 times right now if you want. We'll do a cheerlead on it. To highlight the state of the depot, I'll take you on a journey with different groups among our competencies, our IPTs and our partners, and of course with our eye-level divisions. All of you who played a part in making us better, more efficient and more successful. Because of your investment, every single one of you should be proud to say, I work at FRC Southwest, and never be ashamed to say, that place is mine, or I did that. You should be very proud of that. So I'll start out with our artisans, the heart and soul of level 3. No one does what you do. And if you've been in an INDOC class of mine, you've heard me say you're 1 in a million. I really mean that. I challenge you to find someone else in San Diego or Southern California, outside that blue line, that crawls inside an F-18 center barrel, paints aircraft, precisely matches aircraft structure from an F-18, an H-53, or an H-60, worn through a decade and a half of combat. Find someone who can endure the heat and work in a space the size of the area underneath this podium to replace a broken wire or drill in 20,000 rivets. Find anyone who makes E2s and C2s last longer and perform better than when they were brand new. Or someone who can machine a part to 1/100,000th of an inch so we can repair an aircraft that no longer has parts available anywhere in the world. Find someone who renews old parts by restoring their integrity through blasting, plating, and grinding. Or someone who can completely rebuild an electromechanical aircraft system, an electronic component, or a landing gear that lasts longer on wing than when it was new. Find someone who is willing to crawl into 6 inches of oil, grease, and steam with a smile to fix a carrier catapult, or anyone else who can repair a shipboard LM-25 engine, or who can create a workspace from an aluminum container. The answer is you can't. It's not possible. They don't exist. They're not out there. That 1 in a million is you. And this nation is grateful. Each of you is so talented that you're a national treasure, on whom we folks in uniform depend on every single day. Those folks in the field, out on ships, out in the sand, cannot do what they do if you do not do what you do. They need you every single day. Yes, it is you. No one else, it's you. That is why you are indeed 1 in a million. The work you do every day keeps our nation safe. You are the warfighter's right arm. They know this. Never let them down, and I can assure you they will never let you down. I'd like to also talk about our labor union partners, the most influential of all groups. You work and strive for all things that are good. In 2013, we asked for your help in establishing a safety culture that would be second to none in the NAE. You did it. Look around. Safety glasses and hearing protection are part of our folks' body now, not something to be avoided or set aside. It's in their DNA. It's a part of them. When visitors are aboard, they notice. When OSHA is aboard, they notice too. I'll speak more about that later. But between management and labor, we changed a culture. We partner not only in safety, though, we partnered in discipline avoidance. We acquired food machines and countless other joint efforts. Mario, Victor, Jeff, Terrell, Sid, John, and Jason, I will always be grateful for your help in making FRC Southwest better. Over to our safety and environmental folks, energy and aircrew professionals, the catalyst to our success. I remember, and Don, I know you're out there, will remember this knock on the door. Hey XO, hey Skipper, OSHA's aboard. San Diego County's here, the state of California's here, the EPA is coming. These phrases once meant it's time to tap dance. Say, oh my God, no, no. I wondered why. So I asked why, and it always seemed to be something bad was gonna happen. These teams came here often. Anxiety filled the air. And we would always wonder, is a violation soon to follow? Well, what would that mean? Oh, time for another diving catch. That was in 2013. I asked just last week how many actionable violations we had received from all of these agencies in FY16. The answer was, yeah, we got 2 minors from the county. They were fixed on the spot. And we got none from OSHA or the EPA. Wow, how did that happen? Easy, I think. It was because we changed the way we viewed their purpose. Instead of an entity bent on citing things, we made them our partners to help us prevent citing things. To help us, instead of waiting for them to arrive, asking them to come and help us see what we could not see. They were our partners in improving culture, and we embraced that second set of eyes. We made compliance a pillar of our command strategy. Safety and environmental compliance has become part of your DNA. You are the CNO Environmental Award winners and have received countless other laudable comments from high-level officials throughout the last few years. On July 27th, we received word that Southwest had been certified OSAS 18001, a project 3 years in the making. And FRC is the first Navy depot to do so. You should be very proud. That was a partnership among everyone. Well done. We've had an award-winning energy team that has expended its boundless efforts to wean the command from steam. Our water and steam consumption is at an all-time low, and I could go on and on. But all this has been in partnership with our unions, our people, and the agencies who support us. Owen, did I mention? Well, I guess somebody else mentioned that FRC was the winner of the CNO Aviation Safety Award. That competition is extremely keen, but our ASO, Aaron Vernalis, made it happen, along with his air crew mates. I have never seen a more enthusiastic aviation safety pro in my entire career. Awesome job. So be it RASP, explosive safety, or any safety program, Michelle Marion, Mike Del Rosso, Jose Jimenez, Tret Nguyen, Matt Schreck, Sarah Tully, and Josh Malish. In conjunction with all of the safety and environmental energy and aircrew pros, you all made FRC Southwest better. Over to 7-0, total force management. Nowhere was renewal more important. Our workforce was aging and starting to leave, and your ability to bring folks aboard was hamstrung by litigation and sequestration. And then, along with that, we began to see an unprecedented uptick in work requirements, and people were starting to leave just because they were getting old. The old ways of overcoming attrition would no longer work. You were challenged to seek new ways to do business. It took time, but you did it. You continue to do it every day. Don't stop. You're almost there. I'm told we're about 140 people short right now, about 3% of our 4,500 employees. I know you are relentless, and as Winston Churchill once said, never, never, never quit on this journey. XO Owen challenged you to reduce our employee discipline issues. Both labor and management embraced this initiative. I remember reading hundreds of names on dozens of spreadsheets when I first arrived here. Today, it is one spreadsheet, and yes, we have not reduced the font size. It's still 10 pitch. Through discipline avoidance, supervisory education, and labor union participation, you changed a culture, renewing our commitment to our mission and the purpose of this place, restoring the heart of those who perform flawlessly every day, and by bringing those who may have been a bit off track back on track. You made everybody a winner. Thank you. The team over there is second to none, and no matter what anyone may say, we've all been lucky to have you. You have modernized us and renewed us, and you continue to do so and bring us into the 21st century. And if you really keep doing what you're doing, you'll have us in the 22nd century by 2020. So keep going. And finally, to Sharon Leonard and her admin team. Wow, you're the best. Sharon, do you remember the first meeting we ever had in my office when I asked you, why did this sit in someone else's box for 22 days? And how come I have to sign it right now? And you kind of went, I don't know. But you fixed it. Our admins got fast, incredibly fast, incredibly fast. And as time went on, nothing was ever overdue anymore. I can happily say my box is empty every night because you've level loaded it, never letting backlog get too high. Who would not like that? In April, the IG acknowledged your success. You and your team should be very proud. You made FRC Southwest better. To the best 6.0 loggies and product support team anywhere. I don't know where to begin. This organization is so big, so I'll start with Sean Delaware, Steve Gustin, Kevin Suarez, Greg Crabb, Sean O'Leary, Curtis Price, Steve Brown, Craig Graham, Tim Hoffman, Jim Companion, J.B. Thurman, Cindy Champagne, and Dan Conley. We talked often each week, but some of the things you have taken to heart must be mentioned. Concert. The training is the absolute best and the results achieved are even better. There are always naysayers, as there will always be, but you stand your ground because it is the right thing to do. The Davies has not stopped the CDI program because one CDI may make a mistake. Instead, we leverage the knowledge we learned from that mistake to make the program better. In concert, you do the same. I will always challenge folks to show me where anyone in a depot enterprise goes through the rigor to get the concert qual. I will challenge them to show me where any other program has that level of intensity and oversight and monitoring to make sure folks stay on track. My stance will always be, if you have an escape, link it to an AI. And for every one they do, I'll show them 100 good things an AI has done. This program has made us better, faster, and stronger as an MRO provider. Curtis, Lou, Ruben, Brian Wood, and Mike Washington, this is your baby. Give it TLC and treat it as your own and let it grow up. Because when it does, everyone will want it when they see how successful it is. My next one here is FIAR. When fire came out, all roads led to D. Delgado. There's D. Why am I responsible for making sure that that piece of support equipment over there has been inventoried? You're right, D. Well, the answer was because it was easier if someone else had to do it instead of me. That's why all roads led to D, but we changed that. It was not all about money, it was about stuff. Doc O'Leary, J.B. Thurman, and Cindy Champagne embraced that view. They grabbed fire by the horns and made it their own. They spent 3 years finding our stuff, cataloging it, getting rid of it, and making sure we could account for it. The Government Accountability Office came in to check. They loved it. They said, how come other people can't do this? You were recognized as trendsetters in all those accountable programs. When FY17 arrives, you will be audit ready. You really made a difference. And can't miss weight handling, bills of materials, and other stuff. Dan Connolly is the Bill Nye, the science guy of this depot. He and his young apprentice, Latanya Bowles, who's not really an apprentice, but she's just younger than him, saw the need, found the ways, and gave support for our teams to do things right. They created process so folks like Earl Fraser could ace technically difficult exams like the Navy crane audit. They partnered with our top chop, Lance Kekelbeck, to understand and create ways to measure and outfit bills of material more accurately and be more timely. Sean Willis from Calibration took on the task of reducing overdues. When he started, there were hundreds. Today, and every day, there are less than 10. And finally, Nancy Thompson, the special projects guru. She did it all. You all know our business and you made it better. Logistics, who does that? Why do we do that? Who's that? Don't know. We're loggies. In 2013, we weren't sure what a loggie was. Well, I think we did. Not anymore. Craig Graham, Steve Brown, and Tim Hoffman, you created ways to enable folks to make a difference. Folks like Todd Jarvis in E2C2 at landing gear, and Martha Hoffman in fixtures. You both come to mind as many of the all-stars we employ. You overcame the greatest challenges, and those efforts are paying off today. Most notably, when we give folks a tour and they go to that F-18 hangar back there in 378 and see that fixture. The adage from vision to fruition is a 2-year process, and it is exemplified by your team's effort to align every stakeholder for a common positive outcome. You do it every single day. Our loggies have made a difference. You all made FRC Southwest better. People, man, equip, and train. What is that? What's a competency? It'll never work. That was change with a different word. Greg Crabb, Jim Companion, and Freddie Assumption bore the brunt of that question and did something they'd never done before. You made the depot a CAO. When we began, anxiety was everywhere. Angst prevailed. It'll never work. You're taking away my stuff. You did it. You stayed relentless and you pursued that excellence. And you brought folks on board, and now it is becoming part of our DNA. In addition to that, you work to solve our personnel shortages every day. You guys have brought in over 600 people in 2 years. I call it the vitamin hiring plan, because we bring in about one person a day, 600. It is a formula that's working, and as I mentioned to TFM, never, never quit. And lastly, I'll mention our facilities that are nearly 100 years old, except for this building. Jose, Jesse Ballesteros, WAC are the silent professionals quietly working in the background to keep our buildings bright, the lights on and the windows clean. They make sure we fix what's broken. The tasks are endless, but the outcome is noticeable across the command. When inside Building 94, its renewal makes it feel as fresh and new as this shiny building we're in today. You built new heads, new break rooms, which are high morale builders, and have had many folks suggest that they felt like they were at San Diego International Airport. Your efforts epitomize what is possible when folks decide to make things better. And lastly is the immutable spirit of Kevin Koo and his team of industrial engineers and maintenance technicians who keep our 20,000 items of support equipment in operational status so we can deliver product. All good things come from Up SE. The transition from 2013 to 2016 has been remarkable. From not knowing what or where our equipment was, to knowing the status of every item and acting on it immediately, SE is no longer the constraint it once was. In fact, because of our IETs, SE is now an enabler, not a disabler. Thank you for that. You made FRC Southwest better. And let's not forget who gives us a reason to work. Those pros in biz ops like Tim Shoup, Kurt Butler, and Greg Mann, along with Kevin Suarez, who feverishly work to establish capability under the most arduous conditions for E2D, V22, and JSF. Our future depends on you, and I know we're in good hands. You are awesome. Don't ever stop what you're doing. Sean Delaware and Steve Gustin, you oversee it all, not only here but nationally. I often wonder how you do it. Your bandwidth is amazing, and I wish I could just have a small part of it. Words can never express in my heart what I feel today about how you made this place better and how you have been a confidant and an aide and an advisor in some of the oddest situations imaginable. I saw you as my guidepost in this assignment, never steering me wrong and always ensuring we did it right. I shall be forever grateful for your wise counsel. And how can I talk about loggies without talking about engineering? Hi, Brian, I see you. I got nothing to say about engineering, so I'll just move on to Tenno. To Brian Frank, Brad Halleck, Mike Grice, Claudia Garcia, Chris Root, Tom Jarvis, Gary Nelson, Farzad Baban, and 100 more of our FSTs. Those folks had to endure my constant why for 39 months. I am and always will be your biggest fan. Be it rethinking how to do a PMIX to carding components on an E2D. You fix things, you do the impossible, and you always come through. Much is said about engineering and many jokes are made at their expense. But I will say, we are successful because of what you do and how you do it. Our FSTs are empowered. Our team is empowered. And with communication and transparency with the fleet, we have learned there are alternative ways of thinking. Nowhere more apparent than on the F-18 A to D line. Our team here at FRC Southwest has learned much from you, and those lessons will leverage the future. But the bottom line is that you listen and you learn, and those that you listened and learned with reciprocated. As a result, we're much better. And as you know, those thoughts were captured in our last 2 submissions of the Mason Award for this command. You've earned every word in that nomination, and it will always hold true. The work you all do is hard, It is excruciatingly time-consuming, and there is no room for error. That is not always appreciated by everybody. But believe me, it is appreciated by the folks who wear green suits around this place and out in the fleet, who strap on a parachute and hop into cockpit and flight crew stations of those aircraft. You are their lifeline. You are their insurance policy for the families who want to see mom and dad or the Mr. and Mrs. come home every single night. Don't stop doing what you do, because lives depend on it. You have made FRC Southwest and the fleet better. To Tenno, to the comptroller, the tank of gas that keeps this engine running. Dee Delgado, Michelle Norris, Davetta Davis, Caroline Thomas, and Motion Ahmed, just to name a few, and the rest who fuel our production and product support engines with the lifeblood, money. For 39 months, I've watched in amazement how drill after drill after drill you responded and continued to build our organization's credibility. Your team enhanced XOs and my confidence and our competence because you educated us. You taught us how this business works, and you taught us how it's connected to every other piece of it, not just in its own sector. Those lessons now are being shown to all levels of the Navies, as Admiral Sohl mentioned, the Secretariat, FMB, and OSD. Your message is being heard and understood. You should all be very proud of that. You embraced fire, and you are ready. You endured sequestration. You understood the limiters and got us the funding we needed. You withstood the scrutiny of countless audits from fire and IG, and you aced every test when they came. You did all that with only about 80% of the folks you need, yet you still got it done. It's amazing. Because of you and your team, I am not worried about going to Leavenworth, which is a secretly held belief by every Navy officer in command, that somehow they're going to end up in Leavenworth. Because of you and how you do it, and did it right, I will never have that worry. Because of you, we have credibility in budget discussions. When folks visit, they are amazed at what you do. You have overturned myth with fact and making people in the budget world rethink solutions. This should make you proud, and for all of us here who rely on your fuel, we are very proud of you. You have made FRC Southwest better. 11-0 and Command Eval, my eyes and ears. Jeff Chun, Kat Chow, Chris Cronin, Susan Tinsley, and Brittany Bowden. You've heard me joke often that you are the law side of the old Law & Order TV series. Your counsel and support cannot be measured in words. This job as CO would not be possible without a legal team that is able to give well-tuned advice. I can think of 100 decisions a day in this business that could leave someone vulnerable, yet you have been there to protect the thousands of employees here each and every day. Your work is often thankless, but the results leave people smiling and reassured that we have their backs, and that when we are doing is ethical and within fiscal prudence. That assurance lets us move our organization forward without fear that we could get knocked out by something we did not know about. We cannot thank you enough for that. You made FRC Southwest better. John Roberts, Rachel Jordan, and Michael Peet, you are the order side of that TV show. You are the eyes and ears of this organization. You're like radar on a ship. Your compliance efforts are far-reaching, critical, and truly the foundation of our command's success. Like that radar, you see threats that are far off and keep the entire organization safe by keeping us on a vector so we do not run afoul. Your efforts allowed us to complete a one-week IG with a final notation being, "It's the best they had seen." This is a tribute to your efforts. We owe you all a debt of thanks. John Roberts, or Master Chief, or Colonel in the Civil War armies, in addition to that stuff, you served as a confidant to both EXO and I for a long time. You understand the lingo and easily connect to our thoughts. In partnership, you employed your informal influence network to make us better. You will not be forgotten. Thanks to all of you again for letting us see the straight path and keeping us on it. You made FRC Southwest better. Our admin staff, my right arm. If I was a lefty, it would be my left arm. Everybody needs a right arm. Someone at your side to do the impossible, change the unchangeable, please the unpleasable, and do it with a smile no matter who did the asking. I tried not to be needy. I hope I achieved that. But I had seldom had to ask for anything because you were always 3 steps ahead of me, so I never had to. What I needed was just there. You managed my inbox, my travel, my calendar, and my personality, and you did it well. You oftentimes just let me be me. You'll never know how much that is appreciated in the front office. To a team of trusted agents that any CEO would envy includes Cheryl Nelson, Brett Simpson, Senior Chief Ward, YNC Drozdek, YN1 Luzak, and YN2 Paredes. I add to that Mike Furlano, Chris Nette, Chuck Arnold, and Scott James. I can only say this: without you at my side, there's no way I could have done this job. I would have had a nervous breakdown. The volume of work you do for the XO and I at a professional level is immense, and no one, and I mean no one, has done it better in my 38 years in the Navy. Thank you. Thanks also for enduring my sense of humor, my love of banter, and my unannounced stand-up comedy routines that you had to endure while quietly holding your breath, going like Cheryl does and going, you know, you're only funny to yourself, Skipper. You will always have my deepest admiration for your skills, your patience, and your fortitude. You are the best. Thanks for making us better. To the officers, chiefs, and sailors, from our OICs, Commander Martinez, Commander Falconeri, and your SELs, AECS Hooks-Cromer, and AVCM Valdeman, I could not be more proud. Your wardrooms and chief's mess have set a standard that cannot be matched in professional performance or personal behavior. On personal behavior, you know how I measure things. I do it with regard to the big 4, SAPR, DUI, drugs, and DV. All of those come to CO MAST. Because of your leadership over the last 3 years, I can count on less than 2 hands the number of MAST cases that came to my office. That is 1 MAST case every 4 months, and that is remarkable. In a strange twist, I never got very good at Captain's Mast. I guess that is because I just never got to practice very much. If there is a skill I would like to forgo in this Navy, that would be it. Thanks to you, your wardrooms, and your mess for exhibiting the leadership that kept me from having to practice. Professionally, I'll sum up this way. When your extras average 2 a day and 17 a day, you are keeping planes ready for the fight. Could not be prouder. That pride really showed through last week when you did the bog with your sailors and they got to show off their stuff. I'll never forget July 26 and 27, when I saw your sailors show how fortunate our nation is to have them in her service. While walking with Rear Admiral Zarowski through 900 Division, he remarked, "It is good to know our future is secure," because what he saw. Remember, that's because it's in your DNA. And when you have a new generation of sailors come in, pass on that DNA and enculturate them into your success and your mantra. It has been a pleasure serving as your CO. But what gives me even better feeling is knowing that if none of us were here in the front office, this place would rock anyway. To our foreign partners, Switzerland, or is it Sweden? Or is it Denmark? Or I don't know. Somewhere up there in, what is it called? Scandinavia. Canada, Finland, Spain, and Australia represent the best of their nations. These officers who are sitting here today are part of our team and part of our wardroom. We have cherished the opportunity to learn from you. Seeing the world through another's lens can help make our depot better. With you, we shared experiences, and because of that, you made our depot better. To Robert, Jose, David, Rami, and Richard, thank you. And I hope you've watched Dr. Strangelove already, because if you did watch it, you will truly realize how our system of government operates at the highest level. And don't let me forget another critical partner, DLA, Commander Matt Brickhouse and Charlie Horry. They've leveraged our relationship and continue to make us better every day. From bomb and IMSP support to the contacts you have made and the things we take for granted, we truly, together in partnership, have made this organization better, and I cannot thank you enough. To our military artisans, those folks in white standing behind you, I'd just like to stop for a second and clap and say thank you. When this is done, they're going to go take a nap because they've been standing too long. But I said it above, but I'll say it again. You're the best in your professions, and you're the best in your behavior. For 39 months, you've asked what we asked you to do. Just two things. Show respect and take opportunities. Show respect to one another, to the warfighter, to those closest to you, and your community as well. You did that. The proof is in the record I mentioned earlier. You earned our respect as well. Watching you at Boots on the Ground events warmed my heart. If you could just see what I could have seen that day, you'd understand why it gives me a feeling of pride that brings tears. And no kidding, I had to step out a couple times because my heart was about to explode and tears were coming down. When people would ask what's wrong, I'd say I got dust in my eyes. You took the opportunity when it arose. You chose to go to school, you explore the county, you volunteer, you support this community. Your achievements are captured each month in your newsletters, which highlights your achievements. If there were time, I would read each one of them to the audience, but I've kept you standing long enough. Please know that all of you did make a difference. You made FRC Southwest the command that people want to come to. People come here because they know it's awesome. They know it's in our DNA and they want some of it. You all make it that way. When they come here, they may not be the best, but when they do leave, they are the very best they can be. That's because of your tradition of excellence. Never let that go. I've been blessed to serve with you, every one of you, and I never miss a chance to tell anyone about you. You are the future, and I agree with Admiral Zarowski. I am certain in all of you that our future is in great hands. Now I'm almost done. Those magnificent IPTs, those integrated product teams, Dave Heinauer, Jello, Brian, Linda, John and Jim, Wade and Darryl, Michelle and Mike, Gabe, Arnell and Elijah, Leroy and Rico, Charlie and Dan, Shane and Ray. You represent and run 9 IPTs, delivering readiness to the fleet every day. You work seamlessly as a civilian-military counterpart, side by side, acting as one, each with an appreciation of how this depot works and understanding how the fleet operates. You all provide a dual lens that serves as a motivation for our thousands of artisans and sailors. Leadership that sees the future and has confidence in those to make it happen. On our floor and also out in the 9 detachment sites in the field. Your lens and ability to manage all that is priceless. It is valuable. It is essential to our nation's security. You also have seen the future and know that all of us sometimes have to leave. You are developing our best and brightest, those who will lead us in the years to come. Folks like George Knacker, Ade Armas, Ed Roberson, Tommy Moore, Steve Coffey, Vic Brambilla, Eric Krylenberg, Mark Hagedorn, Jim Ryerson, Bob Reynolds, to name a few. But don't forget Pedro Grant. Those are the folks on the front lines. And I know I said no stats, but in this case I just can't help it. Readiness begins with you, and you are delivering. The data proves it. Your future is bright, and 8 to 9 IPTs are poised to deliver the plan this year. 171 aircraft, nearly 14,000 components, 100,000 items through processing, 16 shipboard engines, 58 mobile facilities, and 20,000 manufactured parts. And I want to highlight that just 2 years ago it was only 1,500 manufactured parts. If you add them all together, with our field sites, we've delivered almost 190 aircraft. And don't let me forget about field services, who have already processed over 2,000 in-service repairs this year. That's 6.3 ISRs a day, assuming everybody's working every single day, including weekends and holidays. Absolutely remarkable. And you did this while being short of people and with increasing workload. I know I mentioned 8 and 9, and we all know who the one outlier is, and Dave, this is no bash. You have finished 39 PMI 1s and 2s. You've done those HFHs and center barrels here at Owen and Miramar for the first 10 months. That's the second biggest outlier behind age 16. You've adopted and are excelling at CCPM, and employee can share not only to manage, but also to reliably predict delivery outcomes. Your fever is expanding to other lines and is already in play in E2C2. And don't fret over there. Your future is very bright. Much has been done to align resources because of your use of CCPM, and even while the work scope continues to increase, believe me, in the end, I know you will prevail. It will be 9 to 9 soon, And when that green shows up on that first slide on Monday morning, I've asked that Craig send me a copy, because I'll just look back and know you all did it. Before I finish, I must mention those who oversee and execute our 4 million man-hour budget: Dave Kelly, Kevin Okerman, Brett Engel, and our recently departed Joel Tesher. You execute superbly. You guys take the face shots from our customers each and every day, but you come back for more. I wonder why. Well, you come back because you know this huge ship needs to be stay on course, and you know how to fix things and get resources. You influence the NE to see things differently. You've brought 4 major players together in a quest for production excellence and execution: engineering, logistics, material, and production. You have connected the dots. You've made our folks brilliant on the basics, and in doing so have led our IPTs to show progress and deliver every day. You have shown folks why readiness starts here, and you make readiness start here. You not only made FRC Southwest better, you made the NE better. The ESC, teamwork at its finest. I'll mention you already, but I'll want to say one more time that collectively you brought teamwork to a new state of play. You perfected it. You made the job in the front office immeasurably easier by doing so. You worked tirelessly at the tactical level, thought strategically, and developed a plan for our depot's future that, when fully executed, will ensure our long-term viability. Working with Don Hall, you developed the right mix of investment in our people and facilities, made delivery to promise a cornerstone of our business, and in the process ensured we took care of our nation's resources and environment. I can never express gratitude for taking the hard road in this endeavor, by doing what many before you had done, which was staying on the easy path of accepting the status quo. The ESC truly does rock. To my bosses, CMC and XO, all of you behind me. You gave me the keys to the ship 2 years ago with a one-word task. You said, psycho, lead. I hope I'm not letting you down other than milking out this speech. You empowered us and let us really put this ship on course. It has been an honor to serve with you and represent the 4,500 people who call FRC Southwest my job. It has been great. You made it that way, and in doing so, you made us better. I look forward to serving with you both again. Finally, to those whom I see and talk every day, Master Chief Torres, you listened, understood, and made sailors a priority. I'm looking the wrong direction. Sorry about that, my friend. You care for them, and even when they cross the foul line, you still care. That inspired me more than you will ever know. You made us realize that the best leaders get folks back on track. They don't kick them off the track. Together we did this many times. 30 years from now, I know someone will remember Dewey Torres and say, he took care of me. Not just when I was no bother, but when I was a bother. And they will turn do the same for the next generation of sailors. You made them and all of us better. XO and soon to be Skipper Owen. Have you fallen asleep yet? Yeah. My best friend, my confidant, and my share of shenanigans. We are indeed brothers. And I know what you're thinking about right now and what you want to talk about. We were cut from the same cloth, and we shall always have these 2 years to share fondly when we're in the old folks' home. Man, will we laugh. They will think we're sick, because in the old folks' home it said one must be sad. Well, we'll be laughing out loud all the time. I know it, because I know what we'll be talking about. You've been a fabulous XO. You've been the prototypical XO, grinding stones, making things better, and making FRC Southwest better in the process. But starting today, you get to be someone else. The CEO, the person who will champion this entire group in front of you today. It's awesome. It's a whole different role, but you will rock at it. Tony, XO, welcome aboard. And enjoy Craig's seat, and enjoy pulling those levers for the next 2 years. It's practice. Relish every moment. Have a blast. I know you're both ready, and congratulations to you guys for making it better. And one last thought to you, Craig. I want you to know, though, that after today, me and those other CEOs sitting out there will always be looking back. We'll look at FRC Southwest. We'll never intrude, ever intrude. But if you ever need us, just call. because we always care about FRC Southwest. Hear me when I say we may be gone, but we will always call it our depot. You will feel that 2 years from now too. You can't help being invested in this place. It gets into your blood. Best of luck to you and Cindy as you live the 1520 dream of being a depot CO. Tony and Corinne, you will have a blast. It gets no better than this. So in summary, thank goodness, I will say that the state of our depot is strong. In summary, you have excelled. Each of you is putting tireless efforts to make this organization better. I can affirmatively say that you are confident, you are competent, you are credible, and you are a driving force in readiness that this nation needs now more than ever. Folks want what you got, and they need it more than ever. Each of you is 1 in a million, and you are needed now more than ever by a nation still at war. Be proud of your work. Be proud of your lineage, whether it's I level or D level. Maintain your traditions and remain the finest workforce in the world. Thank you for your time, and may God bless you, your family, our depot, and these United States of America. Thank you very much.
Ushers post. Flowers will now be presented to Captain Pfannenstein's family members and Captain Owen's family members in gratitude for the support of their naval careers. Captain Pfannenstein will now present the Civilian Award to a deserving member of the Fleet Readiness Center Southwest team. Usher, please escort to the stage Mrs. Diana Delgado. Commanding Officer of Fleet Readiness Center Southwest takes pleasure in presenting the Department of the Navy Meritorious Civilian Service Award to Diana Delgado for services set forth in the following citation. For consistently outstanding performance as Fleet Readiness Center Southwest Comptroller from August 2014 to August 2016. Your strong analytical skills, exceptional vision, and steadfast leadership have made FRC Southwest a model of financial execution and compliance. You provided regulatory direction and sage counsel across all competencies within our organization to raise knowledge, standardize processes, and lead an effort to meet National Defense Authorization Act requirements. Your exceptional professionalism, personal initiative, and loyal devotion to our command reflected great credit upon yourself and were keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Navy. Signed this day, T.H. Pfannenstein, Commander. Adjutant, bring the command to attention. Civilian guests may remain seated. Military members, attention. Captain Pfannenstein will now read his orders.
Hooper's orders 1256 to Captain Timothy H. Pfannenstein, USN, when directed by reporting senior and properly relieved, detach in August 2016 and report to Commander Fleet Readiness Center's Naval Air Systems Command.
I will now read my orders. Bupor's orders 0594 for Captain Craig Owen, U.S. Navy, when directed, report to Commander, Fleet Readiness Center Southwest as his relief. Upon arrival, report to Commander, Fleet Readiness Centers.
Please be seated. Adjutant, place the command at ease. Usher, please escort Captain Owen's wife to the stage. Mrs. Owen will now pin the command ashore pin on Captain Owen. Redesignate Depot 01. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Craig Owen, Commanding Officer, Fleet Readiness Center, Southwest.
Good morning, everyone. We probably wouldn't have had this many people if you'd have known we were trying to set the record today for the longest change of command. So Admiral Zarowski, we will certainly make sure that we uphold that for here on out. So I know that we've got exactly 10 seconds left, and we exceed what FRC Mid-Atlantic did last Friday. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to share this significant event. For those who have traveled from out of town, I welcome you to sunny San Diego and to Command's newest production facility. To the escorts, parking attendants, the First Class Association, Mike Filano and his team, thank you for the many contributions that has led us here today. Michelle Gomez and Dave Kelly, thank you for pausing the production efforts in this facility. As you are, we are very proud of this new facility, and we are glad that we're able to share it with our guests here today. Senior Ward Chief Drosak, thank you for your administrative efforts leading today. Ms. Cheryl Nelson, and we like to call her Nellie because she works very hard, just like a horse back in Missouri. She is our behind the closed glass nerve center sentinel and secretary. You played a big part today in today's events. Tim and I will never be able to thank you for all the work that you've done, including managing two very extremely busy schedules. You are always appreciated. Lieutenant Jim Voss, Jimbo, who is the command's change of command coordinator. Thank you for taking the lead in this event, Jim. With endless plannings, preparations, and checks and balances, you have made this day very special. If I took the time to thank everyone who has supported this command, or if I was to mention all the FRC Southwest employees who have hit crowd-standing home runs or have made game-winning touchdowns, I'd be talking as long as Psycho did today, or perhaps even longer. However, I would like to take a couple minutes to recognize some special guests. A special welcome to my family and friends who have traveled from all parts of the United States and around the globe. Welcome to my wife, Cynthia, my daughter, Afton, who drove all the way from Los Angeles, California last night. To my mom and dad, Jael and Mona, Deanna, and Brenda, all from God's country, Missouri. Uncle Lanny, his wife Gina, Gary and his daughter Andrea, and grandchildren Layden, Addison, all the way from a small town in Carlo, Missouri, population 27, as they said in Hee Haw, salute. I'd like to take and highlight that Lanny's father and Gary's father, Junior Dixon, served in World War II. And Gary served on the JFK in Vietnam. Junior and Gary, you guys talked me into being here, joining the Navy. Aside from making the decision to marry my wife, the Navy's the best decision I ever made. Thank you. Cousins Bob and Delane from Washington, D.C. Bob's a retired Air Force colonel, and he served for 30 years. Bob and Delane, while you're here in San Diego, please enjoy our traffic here in San Diego. And welcome to my brother and sister-in-laws, Simon, and my favorite sister-in-law, Helen, from Australia. Mark, and my favorite sister-in-law, Bridget, from Sacramento, California. Andy, and my favorite sister-in-law, Dorothy, and their children, Victor, Daniel, and Mark, all the way from Scotland. Something you should know about Andy, my brother-in-law from Scotland. Andy's always been an advocate for U.S. military aviation, and he loves to ask a lot of questions, and even more so, very technical questions. And during my many naval aviation conversations with Andy, he has heard me say more than once, Andy, if I tell you any more, I have to kill you. So if you find yourself accosted by Andy today, and he starts asking you those need-to-know questions and answers, just tell him that your IBS is acting up, find the nearest head, and that'll buy you some getaway time. My daughter, Afton, just a quick reminder that you could have been one of the side boys here today. 8 years ago, we toured the Naval Academy the same week that plebe summer had started. We heard the chanting of the plebes, but we couldn't see them. A couple of minutes passed, and the chanting became increasingly louder as the formation plebe rounded the corner and they marched right up the street in front of us. Afton quickly noticed that several of the young guys and gals were wearing their Navy-issued birth control glasses. Within a few seconds of that visual, she was ready to leave. Even though she did not choose the Naval Academy, the University of Virginia has served you well. It's been very rewarding to watch you grow up into a hardworking citizen and being very successful in your career field. Cynthia, 32 years ago, I was introduced to my guardian angel. I have served with many great leaders, but you are far the most inspirational. Always know that even though that you have removed the bologna sandwiches, the ring bologna, the bologna salad, and the bologna gumbo from my diet, I still love you and will always be your best friend. Retired Navy Captain Kenneth Kilo Parks, my former commanding officer from VAQ 139. He was also former CEO of the RAG 129 and a couple other squadrons and shore duty. Thank you, Kilo, for traveling here from Chesapeake, Virginia. After I was commissioned, like I said, he was my commanding officer and he was a great leader. He taught us how to sing the squadron song, and to know when and when not to put a dog into the fight. Thank you for that advice, Kilo, and thank you for being here. Retired Navy Captain Tim O'Brien, who now works in Dallas-Fort Worth. Tim, thank you for being here. Retired Navy Captain Mike Belcher. It's always a pleasure to work with you, Mike, and thank you for your support. Retired Navy Captain Mike Kelly, former CO of this command. Thank you for your mentorship and guidance during our Norfolk days, and I also thank you for the mentorship beyond those times. Retired Navy Commander Kurt Shanahan, former production officer of this command, who also traveled here from Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. Kurt, I know that your good friend is sitting behind you today, Steve Barnett. He was actually supposed to be sitting right behind you today, and there's a reason for that. 2 weeks ago, Steve and I were at the world-famous I-Bar, and I told Steve that you would be in attendance today. And Steve said the following to me, and I quote, "Craig, no matter how many nice words you say about Kurt, it would be impossible for his head to physically grow any bigger than it is now." So I tried to put him behind so he could have a good view the entire time today. But Kurt and I go back all the way to 1983. Kurt was an ensign, I was a second class, and he was my branch officer. Kurt taught me priority management, meaning his time is precious, and he convinced me that it was time for studying for the rating exam and to enroll in college classes was much more important than to have myself mow the lawn or change the oil or tune up my car. After Kurt's advice on October 1st, 1993, he commissioned me as an LDO. For the next couple of years, he encouraged me to complete my undergraduate degree so that I could apply and redesignate for the aerospace engineering maintenance community. Kurt, if it wasn't for your mentorship and you believe in me, I would not have had the opportunity to travel down this career path. Thank you, my friend. Retired Navy Commander Jay Sherman, sitting right next to Kilo. He was a former VAQ 130 Zapper CO. He traveled here today from Pensacola, Florida. Jay, also a VAQ 139 Cougar and Kilo's maintenance officer. Aside from CO and XO, Jay was a senior officer in the command, and he got to select his own stateroom and a roommate. Lucky for me, he selected Ensign Owen. Just prior to cruise, Jay asked, "How can I be the best maintenance officer in the Navy?" And I told Jay, "Read the 4790." And he did. And to my knowledge, he's the only aviator who's ever taken the time to read it from cover to cover. Jay, I thank you for selecting me as your roommate, helping me transition from the chief's mess to the wardroom, and thank you for being a great friend and being here today. Retired Navy 1520 Commander Chris Boyer, my OPNAV mentor and longtime family friend. Thank you for taking the time and a break for your Pentagon and being here. Commander Tommy Decker, this day would not be complete without your smiling face, my friend. Commander Rick Brombeck and Kemp, face it, you guys are family. Commander Rich Fairchild, Allison, children Josephine, Gretchen, Little Rich, thank you for being here and your continued friendship. There's no doubt, Rich, you have a bright future. I look forward to serving you with you as the Navy captain. Commander Joe Kamara, since his ensign days, he's been a mentor of mine and a dear friend, and I thank you for traveling here with your wife, Margaret, and being here from Chesapeake, Virginia. Lieutenant Mark Morris, in the back with his wife, Jess, has worked for me as an ensign. He just recently got back off deployment and got to see his son, who was only a little over a year old. Thank you for serving, Mark, and welcome back from your deployment. Our adopted son and financial wizard, David Palladino. David, thank you for coming. Dr. Nancy Miller, over here. Thank you for all that you do for our sailors and our retirees and for being here today. And also, Doc Devon, thank you for coming here. You know you've been in the Navy too long when two of your doctors show up at a change of command. Yvonne and Ed, thank you for your continued friendship. It's great to have you here today. To our church friends, Gloria and Gary, it's always nice to see your faces every weekend. Also, to Nelson on the left-hand side, thank you for sharing this day with us. To our San Diego neighbors, Victor and Conchita, thank you for taking the time out of your schedule today and being here. I thank all my family and friends for following my career. Your support has been very much appreciated, and your continued support will always be appreciated. Without you, I would not be standing here today. Dee, a big congratulations to you. Your award was not only earned, but well deserved. Hopefully, you were surprised to have your family here right next to you today, and having them here share the moment made the presentation even more special. Welcome to Admiral Sohl and Admiral Zarowski. As always, thank you for your guidance, your leadership, and your passion for the Readiness Centers. Councilmen, Commodores, Deputy Commodores, COs, XOs, fellow captains, and all the former commanding officers, thank you for being here today. A special welcome to Steve Barnett and his executive officer, Scott Mulville. It has been a pleasure working with both of you. You're both outstanding naval officers and great Americans, and I look forward to our continued teaming and our friendship. Commander Matt Brickhouse, our Embedded Defense Logistics Agency commanding officer. Matt, you've only been here a year. You've made a very positive impact. Your team is outstanding. Thank you for being here and all the work that you do. To FRC Southwest, Tactical Executive Steering Committee, Sean, Jeff, Dave, Nancy, Brian, Jose, Michelle, and Dee. Thank you for your support over the last 2 years. You've allowed me to tap into your capital intellect at many levels. There is no doubt in my mind that you are the brains and the nucleus behind the success of this command. It's not the CO and it's not the XO. Often the system challenges us to develop solutions for the greater aviation enterprise, and no one else tackles these challenges better than you and the dedicated teams that you lead. I may be a bit biased, but I firmly believe the COMFRC is the most capable command in the Navy, and I come to this conclusion due to the unwavering commitment of a few uniquely talented workforce. And I'll say it a little bit differently than what Psycho said it earlier. He said that they were 1 in a million. In the United States, the entire labor force is approximately only 160 million people. Compare that 160 million to the less than 12,000 civilian employees of the Fleet Readiness Centers. These FRC's employees make up 0.007% of that total labor force of our country. We are very proud of this incomparable group of talented artisans, supervisors, and managers. Our employees are masters and doctors of their trades, and what these professionals do every day in sport and naval and Marine Corps aviation is truly remarkable. Without this very small percentage of employees, our country would not share the freedom that we have today. On behalf of everyone here, I would like to thank the FRC Southwest employees for everything that you do. Without you, the command would be non-existent. And always remember, with you is the only reason that we stay in business. For Cynthia and I, today is a day that we will always remember. We get to welcome Tony, our new XO, and his wife, Corinne. But we got to say goodbye to Tim and Farrell Pfannenstein. During the last 2 years, Tim and our families, we have served and had a great time. We've shared birthdays, Christmas, weekend dinners, and then you can only imagine countless laughs. Our friendship does not end here today, as we will remain friends for the many years to come. So Tim, on behalf of the command, thank you for your tireless leadership efforts. And you say it all the time. It takes at least 2 years with all the entities involved to make change in a command this big. With that being said, Tim, there's no doubt that for the many years to come, your work will come to fruition. Tim, always know that I've enjoyed my time as your executive officer. As complicated as this business is, we did not allow ourselves to have many bad days. I want to personally thank you for being a mentor, a teacher, a sounding board, and most important, a Navy brother and a best friend. Truth be known, for every day that Tim and I were together, we took our work seriously. We had a lot of fun and laughs doing serious work. And I'll sum up our time together in one simple phrase. Delane, you being an English major, you might want to hold your hand over your ears because you're about to hear two compound double negatives. And this simple phrase comes from the famous rapper Snoop Dogg, only with a paraphrase character change. It ain't no fun if Psycho and Craigo can have none. So we've listened to a lot of positive comments here today about a lot of great things that the command does. There's no doubt that FRC Southwest does a great job in producing aircraft, engines, components, and our manufacturing efforts are state-of-the-art. Regardless of how well we get asked the same question all the time. How can you be more predictive? How can you produce more and produce more faster? Here at FRC Southwest, we host many guests. Admiral Sohl mentioned a few a while ago. And our many guests can be in the form of a senator, a congressman, a commandant of the Marine Corps, the chief of naval operations, admirals and generals from all services, the PMAs, countless contractors, and occasionally the Boy Scouts even take a tour of our facility. Our PAO recently tallied the visiting guests here from October 1st of 2015 through 28 July, just a couple of weeks ago, 2016. And this command has hosted 2,566 visitors in that period of time. That equates to an average of 257 guests a month for the last 10 months. And that's not aberration, because the last years before that, it was much higher. Most of our guests here have come to learn in some way or another. For those, and some also like to come to help. But when those who come to help, when we start talking to them, we certainly learn that they do not fully understand the depot business. For those who ask, how can we help? We provide them the same standard answer. If the artisans have a level-loaded schedule, the required support equipment, weapons, repairable assemblies, materials, consumables, standard work package, and the engineering decisions on the very day that they are needed, the artisans will do what they do best. Produce product, produce on time, and produce every time. Everyone in this business knows that Naval Aviation Enterprise pays close and persistent attention to the readiness and the fleet of aircraft and the affordability of our fleet. As a readiness provider, the Fleet Readiness Center commands are in the NAE's spotlight. Throughout the years, we have overcome many formidable challenges. Like any business, we have existing challenges on our plates, and by the time this ceremony is over, we've probably added a